every one of these people who was victims of this kind of a thing deserved everything that happened to them.
You're a moron.
And I'm going to explain it.
Shut up. You're wasted.
Shut up.
Don't sit here and act this stupid. Please.
For free tickets.
I would say, at the very least, their lives have been shattered because someone stole their identity. Okay, I want you to meet the perpetrator now. Brett Champion. Brett Champion, for 15 years, had what he called a reign of terror. He was involved in investment fraud, credit card fraud, identity fraud, mail order fraud, romance fraud, telemarketing fraud, insurance fraud, advertising fraud, and corporate fraud. The FBI has called this gentleman the Jeffrey Dahmer of fraud. It deserved what has happened to them. Why? 3 years ago came to an end when he was convicted of felony fraud and went to federal prison, which he calls Club Fed. Okay? He has claimed to have swindled people out of millions of dollars. Now, here's the deal. He says people like my guests, or any of us that this happens to, deserve.
Sally, every one of these people who was victims of this kind of a thing deserved everything that happened to them.
You're a moron.
And I'm going to explain it.
Shut up. You're wasted.
Shut up. I'm going to explain it.
Why? Because I'm
You
not
had your
even
chance.
related
Shut
to
up.
this
You had
guy.
your chance.
Don't talk to her like that.
Now, everyone.
Sally,
My sister wasn't there when I used her name. Now, how could that
Okay.
be her fault?
I'm going to explain it.
Wait, what
But
did
don't get my
Dr.
card out.
Baker do wrong?
Was
Doc-
born?
No, you were not wrong by being born. What you did wrong is if you follow certain steps and protect yourself against fraud.
Wait a minute, wait a minute. I had nothing to do with my mother and my daddy having sex and having 3 kids, okay? Now, all right? Number 2 is this. We were born in the same family. How are you going to keep your birthday and your name from your sister? Give me a break.
I think you knew your sister was using your
I
identity.
think you lying.
I think you didn't think that anything was going to happen to you. You didn't think that she was going to get arrested, and you just let it happen. That's what I think happened.
You must not be able to understand me. Okay, I'm gonna give you sign language, all right? I knew nothing, so you cannot sit here categorically and say that I knew what my sister was doing. My sister was doing what she was doing in another part of the state, and I'm doing my business. I did not have time, so don't sit here and act this stupid, please. How?
Because everyone...
Well,
This isn't working out the way it was supposed to.
How?
Hello, this is not working out the way it was
Hold on, I wanna
supposed
answer
to.
this.
Okay.
How?
Wait.
The reason is because when someone is using your name and someone is using your identity in your family, you know about it. And in all cases here, you all knew about it.
In another state for 15 years.
Okay, how did my 3-year-old daughter know that her uncle was doing stuff like that? How did my 4-year-old
Nothing to
daughter?
do with this.
You just said all the victims
They're victims
deserve
as well.
what they get, and they are just as much a victim as any of us are, okay?
I'm talking about the people...
I lived in another state. I lived in another state for 15 years. Didn't talk to nobody in my family. How do I know? I'm living 2 states away, dude.
Because you said he did it twice.
He did it 3 times while I was out of state. You know what? You're wasting time.
Friends. Yeah, well, let me explain. Like, he's supposed to come on and tell us how we could have prevented it. Did you do things like these people had done to them? Did you do these things?
People go through people's trash. They know people that work in companies that have access to personal information. They find social security numbers. They find all kinds of, which we're going to talk about a little later. We did an experiment here. And what they do is they will actually go to a motor vehicles department. They'll get an ID made in somebody's name.
How do you get an ID made in someone else's
With a phony
name?
birth certificate. And then they contact all the person's credit card companies and say they move, they want credit cards sent to the new address, and they start using that person's credit to their benefit.
And what happened to you in prison?
While I was in prison, I wrote a book called America's Guide to Fraud Prevention. I totally turned my life around. This is America, and I believe if you break the law, you've got to go to jail.
If they three strikes, you need to stay there.
At the beginning of the show, I told you my guests would prove this can happen to anyone. We're going to do that with Brett Champion's help. You're going to take a look at how easy it was to fool our audience.
Now, this is very important. We need your
What I did right here was I went out before the show, Sally, into the audience and told everybody we were going to give away a brand new 1998 Volkswagen Bug if they filled out a form and put down their name, address, social security number, driver's license number, and other personal information
Guess
about
what,
themselves.
guys? I know all about you.
Now, Sally,
Wait, here's what you need to know. Remember I said I didn't have that much money for them to steal? Well, Brett and I are now leaving town together. And we've got everything, absolutely everything.
Sally, we did this as an experiment just to show that you never give out your personal information to anybody, because that's how someone who is stealing your identity can take it and get credit cards and in your name. All the papers, of course, will be returned to you.
Yeah, let me tell you, no, I'm going to shred them. I honestly am. I promise you. This is Michelle. Michelle was sitting here, and when you were saying it's the person's fault, I heard Michelle, because I'm standing next to her, saying, did it ever happen to you? Did it ever happen to you? So I figured, Michelle, did it ever happen to you?
Yes, I've got
happened?
a sister that started back in 92 using my name. I was arrested 3 times over the same crime. 2 separate occasions, they've been trying to sue me. She rented about $5,000 worth of furniture and gave it away to her boyfriend's mother for Christmas.
That's nice.
And then the second time, she hit a city bus. I hadn't even driven a car at this point, but she had driven a city bus, gave my name. 14 people on that bus have been still to this day trying to sue me for that.
And you have been fired 4 times.
I have been fired 4 times. It took me 9 months to find a job because they would hire me in, and then the next day they'd fire me.
We'll be right back.